Hey guys, welcome to SheKnowsArsenal. My name is Jessica and I'm your host, and you can follow me on Twitter at @itsshekinyo. This is going to be a new series that I just made up out of nowhere, probably like 10 minutes ago when I was writing it out. We're going to call this the headline show. We'll just gather some of the most popular headlines referring to Arsenal, and we'll just kind of chat about them. Just a light conversation about the most popular headlines that we see for the day. The show will be at 10 p.m. UK time. I know it's later. We don't usually do shows this late. Well, it's still early for me, but it's later for some of you. So let me know if you guys like this time, if this is good for you, and maybe we'll alter it if it's not. But I thought let's try something different. So we'll be talking about Bukayo Saka potentially not being in the Euro squad. What does that mean for Arsenal? We'll be talking about Guendouzi and his deal to Marseille, seemingly pretty close, like it's going to go through. And we'll talk about Odegaard. The price for Odegaard is something like 60 million. And is that worth it for Arsenal? Is he the right player? Those types of things. And then we have a fun question. A fun question towards the end. And we're going to give that to you guys. And I'll talk to Harry about it. And we'll just get into it. So let me know where you're watching in from in the chat box. Let me know how you're feeling, and we'll just go ahead and get started. But without further ado, I'm going to bring in my co-host for today, Harry.
How's it going?
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I have nothing to complain about. People are talking about Igao. Oh, yeah, he did. He painted himself blue today, I guess.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I sweat on the way home from work.
I would not have done that. I would have went back on my, if I had said I was going to do that. And then me and Igao were talking before I actually got on here. Not really talking, but like he said something about Cancelo or something. And I was just like, you guys, like the last thing we need is to bring in anybody for Man City. I know that there have some players that may be on the way out, but that's not something I'd be interested in. Would you be interested in any Manchester City players if they left this summer? I mean, like not thinking about would they come or anything like that, but would you actually be interested?
I mean, I'd be interested in Cancelo for sure, but I don't think that would ever happen. I'm sure that's just a rumour mill. I think there was interest in John Stones, wasn't there, before his revival at Man City? So I get the sense that Man City wouldn't want to strengthen, even though we're not one of their rivals, they wouldn't want to strengthen the team, that are looking to get back up into the top four. So, but I would take Cancelo though; he's class. But yeah, I cannot see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah, me neither. And it just, as good as they are at Man City, or they are at other teams, they come to Arsenal and just turn into a bag of crap. Like there's just no way it would work out for us in that way. So, but let's just start with Bukayo Saka. Obviously Southgate is going to announce his squad early tomorrow morning, I think. And as of now, they're saying that, here, I pulled it up. Sorry, you guys, I should be more organized. That the 7 players to be left out are Ramsdale, Ben White, Ben Godfrey, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ward-Prowse, Bukayo Saka, and Ollie Watkins. And, for me, I'm looking at that, and there's only a couple of names, maybe 2 names that really stand out to me, and that's Trent Alexander-Arnold and Bukayo Saka. The rest of them, I can kind of see why they wouldn't be. And this is all just rumors. Tomorrow morning, we could wake up, and Saka could be in that list. But the headline is that he won't be added into this roster. How do you feel about it, Harry? Obviously I feel like I'm gutted for him if that's what I'm sure he really wanted it. If he's not in that squad, obviously I'm upset for him, but how do you feel about it, Harry, like from an Arsenal perspective?
I mean, it's sad, I suppose, because one good part of international football is seeing your own players play. It makes it even more special. So I'm sad from that perspective because it just makes it a little bit harder for me to enjoy watching England when there aren't any Arsenal players. I remember back in the day when there was Sol Campbell and Ashley Cole in the England team, and I just used to love watching England, during that time. So I'm sad from that perspective. Obviously, it's gutting for Saka, but like I mentioned this a while back, that the World Cup is also next year, so there is plenty of football for these young kids to play, and there's plenty of time for them to play for England. So I don't think it's a massive blow for him in terms of his long-term future. I remember when Walcott was left out of an England squad. I think it was under Hodgson, and that felt like a really big blow because Walcott was maybe 26 or 27 or whatnot. But for Saka, he's got plenty of years to play for England. I am surprised, and I'm not being biased, I am surprised that he's not taking him, because I just think Saka is a brilliant player, and obviously the versatility comes into it. But in the same respect, you've got a 26-man squad. You can, more than comfortably get 2 players in every position. So maybe he doesn't actually need his versatility. But regardless of that, I just think his ball carrying abilities, the way he entices defenders, similar to Jack Grealish, I think would be really good for England. But obviously, Southgate thinks different. So it's a bit of a shock, as is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I know it's an Arsenal-based show, but him not being in the squad is a madness. Absolute madness, especially after he dropped him and then Trent went on to play really well. I know he had a dodgy game against Madrid in the Champions League away from home, but in the Premier League, he's been awesome. So I'm really, really surprised he's not put Trent in there. And you can't help but think that feels a little bit personal as well, because on ability, it doesn't make sense. I know
match up. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know Walker's had a good season. I know James has had a good season, but I feel like Walker and James are very similar in profile. Pure athletes. Not to take away from their footballing ability, but I feel like they're kind of like for like. And Trippier is probably closer to Trent in terms of what you get from a right back in terms of crossing and set pieces. But regardless of that, I just can't believe Trent's not going to be in it either. But anyway, yeah, unlucky for Saka. That was a very long answer. Sorry.
No, that was good. I just, for me, I'm not shocked at all. Not that I don't think he should be in. I just think Southgate has said several times that he thinks it's a little early. He thinks it's a little early. I think he likes him in terms of his attitude and stuff like that. But, Luke Shaw and Chilwell on that left-hand side, I just feel like, do you need an extra? And then for Saka, I know he wants to play further forward. It would be really difficult for him to get a spot over like your Sanchos, your Rashfords, these types of players that play in those forward positions and score goals. So, I do think maybe it's not the last that we'll see of Saka in that England squad. I'm sure like him and Emil Smith-Rowe should play a part in that squad at some point. But from an Arsenal perspective, I'm just thinking like, I couldn't be happier. I just think the kid needs to just put his legs up and really rest. I mean, the amount of minutes that he played the most outfield minutes for us this season. He played more than Granit Xhaka. That's a lot. That's a lot for a 19-year-old. So from an Arsenal perspective, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, but obviously gutted for him. And again, we could wake up tomorrow morning and he can be in the squad, but the words coming out or the headlines coming out is that he's not in. So you guys let me know in the chat box. Are you shocked that Saka may not be in there? And were there some other names that we had mentioned earlier that maybe were a shock? I'm seeing that Melbushwan is saying James Ward-Prowse is a shock. Do you agree with that, Harry, that James Ward-Prowse is somebody that maybe should be in the team or you thought would be included? I mean, how many dead ball situations are you actually going to have? And what does he add if he's not doing a free kick? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, when we were doing our squad building episode, James Ward-Prowse, I just totally forgot about him. But he's someone I actually really, really like. And I feel like we only think he can offer free kicks, but I think he's actually a really good player. I can see him making a move to a top 6 team in the next few seasons, or maybe even this summer. But yeah, I mean, I would have put him in there, but then it's the case of who do you take out? The squad's pretty strong. Bellingham's obviously a good central midfielder. He likes Phillips. If Henderson's fit, he goes. If Declan Rice is fit, obviously he starts. So I get the James Ward-Prowse shout, but he hasn't put Trent in, and Trent's class at free kicks and corners. So maybe he thinks Trippier's got him covered for that. I don't know. But yeah, I do like James Ward-Prowse. I think he's actually a tidy little footballer.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of those that he's really solid, for sure. I just think when you're looking at like, what are you going to add for us? Like, I'm not sure if he's really going to improve you, in terms of an England perspective, but that's a decent shout. Everybody else, I mean, Ben White, why are you there? Like Tomori, does Tomori not exist? I don't know. Not exist. And then of course you guys said Bamford was somebody that you thought that could have been in the squad, but or you liked him, but we actually talked about it later that Bamford wasn't in, and people were shocked. I don't know what to say about that. You guys know I don't really rate him either, So I guess that means what's his name? Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Harry Kane up top. No Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, it makes sense. And then you've got, obviously, the only reason why I mentioned Saka as well, I was surprised, is because in that team there aren't many natural wingers or wide midfielders. There's a lot of wide forwards. Rashford is a weird player sometimes. Sometimes I get the vibes of almost like a Raheem Sterling, and like if he doesn't score, what else is he bringing? Which might be a little bit harsh on him, but I don't know. There's not that.
Be more harsh. Harsh.
No,
He's
I don't
know.
No, so that's the vibe I get from Rashford sometimes. Like, obviously, really good output, like Sterling, good numbers, but sometimes, they're not relentlessly going at the fullback, or they're not, relentlessly contributing to possession, just more to that most important part, which is scoring goals. But which is why I was quite surprised he didn't take Saka, because we've seen Saka so many times come from deep on the right-hand side, pick up the ball, turn, and dribble and run at defenders. So I feel like, really, apart from Sancho, you don't have any genuine midfielders or possession-based midfielders from wide areas. So it feels like England might do a lot of hybrid, setups this summer, with Grealish and Foden and Mount all kind of interchanging, which is great if that's the style of play we're going to go for. And it's still a great squad, and there's still plenty of talent in there. And I'm sure, or hopefully, we can get to the latter stages.
This is an interesting point by Yo-Yo. Do you think that Arteta may have hurt Saka by playing him all over the pitch? Yo-Yo comes with the real stuff every time, but like, for me, I don't really think that he hurt his chances. I just think that we need to nail down a position for Saka next season. I think we need to know what he plays. Is he going to be in the right spot? Is he a left winger, whatever, and just let him play in one position. I think other people might feel like he should be more flexible or play in multiple positions, but I would hate for him to end up like Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Like, some players just, they're like a victim of their
versatility
and their versatility. So what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think Saka playing multiple positions is a really good thing? Should we nail down a spot for him?
Yeah, no, I think it's brilliant for him. I think Arteta's helped Saka, which is why Saka is in the England squad, or has been in the England squad at such a young age. I think playing in a variety of positions, if you can do it, is great for your game, because it helps you just be more aware. He's played centre mid a few times. He's played left back a few times. He played right mid early on. When we came back from COVID last season, he looked a little bit shaky. He's grown into that position, and now it feels like right mid is his preferred position. But we saw when he played left back the other day, we missed that left-sided attack. So no, I think Arteta has helped Saka tremendously. I think Saka's continued to improve, as you'd expect. But I don't think it's any criticism at Arteta, and that's not me being, an Arteta fan. It's just I just feel like Arteta's helped Saka. I remember when Kolo Touré first came through the ranks, he was coming on like up front, centre mid, right mid. It was so random. He was scoring. I think he scored a goal away at Leeds. I'm sure he did many years ago. I think we won 4-1. And he just came on, was like playing up front or just playing like centre mid. I was like, this is random. And then it turned out that he became a centre back. But when you play those variety of positions, you're always learning. You're always gaining skills, which you can then take to your new position. So I think it just helps Saka play in a variety of positions. But long term, I think he'll be a right midfielder or a left midfielder. I don't think it's wrong having that versatility. We saw it with Perez. We saw it with Freddie. They would often swap flanks. I think it's good. So all praise to Saka.
Yeah, just need to add goals to his game. That's really all it is. And he just fell away at the end of the season, I think, because he was tired, not because of anything else, But we'll know if Arteta is really that guy if next time around Rob Holding or Callum Chambers gets a cap. If they're adding some of these guys in here at some point, one of them's getting a cap. I'm just kidding, you guys. But I'm not really. I mean, like some of these guys are equal to them, in my opinion. So I don't understand.
I think Callum Chambers does have a cap. Does Callum Chambers have a cap? I'm sure he does.
Neither of them have a cap between them. I really don't.
I'm sure Callum Chambers got called up in the Hodgson squad. Do you know what? He definitely did, because I remember him being picked ahead of Nathaniel Klein. I'm sure he did. Wait, I got to check now. I got to check Wiki. Would it even come up there if it's a friendly?
Chambers.
Yeah, he's got 3 England caps. He's got 3 England caps.
Oh, Chambers has 3 caps. Oh man, he has a cap. Call him back up.
England international right back. That's what we've got on our hands. England international right back.
I mean, he can cross the ball. We know that. He's good at that for sure. And he's outliving Cedric and Bellerin. I mean, it's crazy. But you guys let us know if we're absolutely crazy in the chat box. I know this is kind of just one of those conversations, but literally Holding should get a cap because I don't rate Cody, and I don't understand why Holding couldn't be there if Cody's there. He's just yelly and shouty, you know.
Oh yeah, Cody is just a modern day Jamie Carragher. No disrespect to either of them. They were good players, but I mean, it's the same. It was at Liverpool. I don't like Jamie Carragher.
What are you saying? Abdallah says, Wagwan, bro. Wagwan. We are the champions of Europe. Yeah, we know. It's been a couple days.
And congratulations to Chelsea. Well done.
Werner was dead. He still was.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I know Werner has a Champions League medal, but Werner is awful. I mean, I know he's got a Champions League trophy, and Mustafi has a World Cup medal as well. Sometimes it happens. It's like a group project at school, you know, when someone doesn't really do a lot of work, but they get the award. That's what Werner's got. Werner is awful. He's the same as Danny Welbeck, exactly the same. I prefer Danny Welbeck. I'd probably say that. I don't like Werner. I think he's rubbish.
Werner had 6 goals in the Premier League. Aubameyang had 10 with less appearances, and Aubameyang is a flop in your guys' mind. So I would think that would make Werner into a flop as well. But let's move on. Let's talk about Guendouzi. So the news on Guendouzi today is that according to Le Temps Sport, Marseille are about to complete the signing of Matteo Guendouzi. The French club will pay a transfer fee of between 12 and 15 euros. So for me, it's good riddance. For me, goodbye. Bye. Goodbye. The guy, for me, is just, well, we could talk about the talent level, but just from an attitude perspective, I just don't think he's good to have around. And multiple people have said it outside of just like Arsenal. I was watching FK's, it was like his first podcast for the Latte Firm. If you guys don't follow him, you should. If you're not subscribed to Latte Firm, you should. Henry Winter was on there, and he was saying that he witnessed Guendouzi's attitude against Manchester City when we lost like 3-0. Remember that game where David Luiz had like the worst game of his life? And he witnessed firsthand like Guendouzi being combative and talking back to Arteta and not listening to instructions. And so it's not just like oh my gosh, like Arteta said that these things are happening, so I believe it. It's literally other people are saying it as well. So for me, I'm looking at him like, okay, well, I wish we would have sold him earlier, but we didn't get a chance to. Obviously, the value destruction is something that we can talk about. But if we get anything more than what we paid for him at this point with 1 year left on his deal, I think you just kind of say, like, forget about it. It happened, you know, and we just move on. I know some people are using it as a stick to beat Arteta with, but we can talk about his talent too, like kind of separately, because I think that's almost like a separate conversation because there's difference of opinion on how good he actually is. But Harry, just generally, like, how do you feel about Guendouzi leaving at this point? Is it kind of feel unfinished? Do you think there was a chance for him to come back, or you think that this is just the best thing for everybody, really?
Well, yeah, we spoke about him last week in our squad building episode, and I said, you know, I'd like to keep him because I think he's got lots of ability. But then after that, I saw the tweets about Emery, congratulating Emery so passionately for winning the Europa League, and then I thought, oh, you know, you're obviously still immature, and the digs are still coming in for Arsenal and Arteta. So on ability, I think it's potentially a loss because I think he is a really good player, and I think he could become a wonderful player. But he clearly has attitude problems. Obviously, we're not privy to all the information. So like you just mentioned there about Henry Winter saying that he saw it firsthand, we won't get to see those things. And we'll never know either because Arteta will keep that behind closed doors. So we kind of just have to believe, you know, the rumours, as it were, because if he was sent out on loan from us and things have went okay at Schalke, was it Hertha Berlin? Where did he go?
Hertha.
Yeah. So things that went okay there, and now he's going to go to Marseille. It's a shame because, like I mentioned, when he first came, I liked his attitude. If anything, I liked his nature, his passion. But clearly, it worked with Emery, and it hasn't worked under Arteta. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think it's one of those things where it might be a case of, what if, and he could go on to have a really good career, or this could be something that, follows him around until he's 27, 28, and in 6 years later, he's giving an interview saying how he regrets how he was when he was younger, and he's not that person, he's a changed man, etc. So, we'll have to wait and see. But good luck to him, and obviously being in France will help him, no doubt, being close to his family and friends, and maybe that will give him the environment to succeed and become a better player and a better human being.
Yeah, I think on the pitch he has like the right attitude. Like his pitch attitude to me is the right thing, not really how he absorbs the tactics and stuff. I think that's probably where he lacks a little bit, but his passion on the pitch is what you want to see from a player. Like that's definitely something that we don't see. But from a talent standpoint, I personally think he's less talented than a lot of other people think, but that's just me. I don't see what type of midfielder he is. He seems like he wants to do everything. Like he'd almost want to be a one-man midfielder, just kind of here, with me, but I'm actually like the whole midfield. And I still don't see him as like somebody who scores goals. Watching him shoot was so painful sometimes because I knew it wasn't going to go in. Even though he did score some goals for Hertha Berlin. He wasn't defensively really sound. Maybe his natural skill is keeping the ball. That was really good. He used to keep the ball really good. He could buy fouls like nobody's business. But I think his talent is so undefined at this point that I wouldn't like bet that he's going to have like this great and wonderful career. I watched the French team today and I just thought, wow, you actually captained this team? Like, that's crazy. They obviously think of him very highly in the French setup. So I think there's oh my God. You guys. Yes, it's a landline. Leave me alone. Oh my God. Every time. Oh my God, hold on. You talk.
Shall I answer the phone for you? Yeah, I think with Guendouzi, it's tough because I find it a little bit tough to not accept, but yeah, kind of to accept because I liked what I saw in him. I think about those North London derbies at home where he really, really carried the team, and Aston Villa at home, and I think we were maybe down a couple of goals, and he won us a penalty, a free kick just by driving through. So, I mean, I remember those things. I'm sure there was lots of bad parts of his game. But like you said, they obviously rate him highly in France, which is the strange thing. And if he goes on to have a great career, then there'll obviously be questions asked about Arteta and whatnot. But just in general, when you're trying to build something at a club and you're trying to install a new ethos, a new mentality, if you've got a really young kid who's a bit reckless talking about how much money he earns, Arteta's probably thinking like, I worked all my life, being an ultimate professional. You're earning more money than me at Arsenal, when that I was on. Who do you think you are? And it's probably a case of that as well. And it seems that whether it's Guendouzi bigging up Mesut Ozil when he was omitted from the squad, or bigging up Emery, like, come on. That's like, if you want to impress your current boss, you don't talk about your old boss. Like, it's like, so I think it's obviously been a dead relationship for a long time, but now it just seems like we're completely cutting our losses.
I just want to let you guys know that was Guendouzi on the phone, and he was basically telling me to F off. He's the best midfielder in the world. So I'm just letting you guys know that. But yeah, bye. Just move on. I mean, we have a lot of good young players that we can, not everybody is going to make it. It didn't work out. Now I'm looking at Saliba, like he's going to be the next one. For me, I never got really attached to Guendouzi. I've never seen Saliba play a match for Arsenal, but I'm attached to him. And I really hope it works out. I really, really do. But Guendouzi, it's okay. Goodbye. So what do you guys think about Guendouzi and him leaving? Is this the best thing for him? Or is it unfinished business? Was there another path? Could we have made it work? And Arteta and him just did not get along. It didn't seem like. So maybe this is just the best thing. Leslie says, let's take the money and promote Aziz. Yeah, I mean, I think they kind of play similar positions too. So you could just put Aziz in there and and see how he fares. Nana GK says, give Jess a jersey, Gwendo, at least you can do before you go. No, I don't want his jersey. Nikki says, sorry seems like the hardest word for him. Yeah, that's another thing. He just will not apologize for anything. I think that's a little rough. Sometimes you just need to apologize and get over it. Nikki says, there she is. Better that answer the phone next time, Jess. Oh my gosh. It was my mom. Hey, mom. You're supposed to be modding right now, mom. Why are you not in there? Why are you not in there? All right. So that's it on Guendouzi. Let's see. And the last piece of news that we had was on Martin Odegaard. So Arsenal have been told to cough up 52 million for Martin Odegaard from Real Madrid. So I put 60 because I've seen 60 as well. But I mean, if you're saying 52, you might as well be telling me 60. That's a lot of peas. Like, that's a lot of money for Martin Odegaard. I know he's so talented, but like, wow, that much, really? But I guess they rate him so highly. They're saying that he's going to be there for next season, but they also said that about Danny Ceballos, and they let us have him. I think he might be up for sale, but only for a certain amount, which makes sense. But 52 million, could we not do better with that, Harry?
Yeah, I mean, that is a pricey deal. That really is. Especially, I mean, I am all up for signing Odegaard. I like him. I feel like he gave us maybe like a 6.5 out of 10 in terms of, the overall performances. So I still feel like there's more to see from him. Do I want to spend 50 million to see that? I don't know. It feels like a lot of money. But then in the same token, if he knows the club, less transition period, he can come in and kind of, and basically start the first game without any worries. So I suppose it depends on what happens with potentially Buendia. I think it depends, on the market in general. Players like Coutinho might be available again, so there might be some other players who we could go in for. But yeah, you're right. It feels like a lot of money, especially on someone who came and gave us a decent loan spell. He didn't come and set the world alight. I think we can all agree that there's certainly a really, really, really special player in there. We didn't necessarily see that. Was that down to him? Was it down to the system? Was it down to the manager, the tactics? Who knows? But 50-odd million seems like a lot of money for him. But in the same token, if he digs his heels in, if he says to Real Madrid that he wants to leave, we might have a bit more bargaining power, and that deal could be cheaper. I'd be up for another loan with an obligation to buy. I think that makes sense for both parties.
Am I wrong for thinking of it like, so my whole thing is like, now I'm thinking about it, if we get Odegaard, we'll miss out on Buendia. That's how I'm thinking about it now. And I'm like, this is a good opportunity to get a player like Buendia, because I'm telling you guys right now, if we don't get Buendia and he goes to Aston Villa will probably finish above us next season. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I don't really want to see a front line of Ollie Watkins, Jack Grealish, and Emi Buendia. I think that's better than what we could put out. So for me, it's like almost like I feel like we would be missing out on something, whereas if Odegaard stayed at Real Madrid, I wouldn't care as much. And that may just be petty. But, I mean, we're fighting with Aston Villa for players now. We have to be able to get the player in. And I think he fits us better. He just fits us better. And Odegaard's slow. Like the other day I watched one of our games over. It was the Brighton game. And watching him get bullied off the ball and run so slow, I was like, no, man. I know that he probably needs some more adaptation time. It takes a while. And he didn't play a lot of football before he came to Arsenal. But I don't know, 52, 60, we could just get Buendia for that and move on. But I think Arteta, that's who he wants. That's who he wants. So maybe we'll just have to live with it. And I know Yo-Yo's saying I'm not convinced Odegaard will want to play for Arteta again. But the reality is that the young players like Arteta. They do. Odegaard fits in that. What did he say when he first got here? He said that like Arteta was like a genius. He has so much to learn from him and all this kind of stuff. He seemed excited. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever heard a manager spoken so highly of from fellow professionals and players. Our future captain Kieran Tierney rants and raves about Arteta. He said he's a footballing genius in a podcast once. So I feel like Yo-Yo really doesn't like Arteta. So I feel like
You
I
got
don't
it?
think we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely get it. Yo-Yo, if you can write a comment without mentioning Arteta, I will give you loads of money. I think Odegaard likes Arteta. I think all of our players like Arteta. I think that's the reason why he survived the sack, because the players also believe in Arteta. But yeah, on Odegaard, it's a big fee to pay for uncertainty. We're still a little bit unclear of how good he is or how good he could be. I do like him, and I've said before that I want us to sign him. But still, 50 odd million feels like a lot. I also wonder if maybe we'll see something different tactically next season, whether we'll see a bit more like Man City, where you have just 3 central midfielders and two wide men. So I wonder if that might alter Arteta's thinking, because like you say with Odegaard, he's a little bit lightweight, a little bit slow at times. So
He was getting bopped. I watched that
yeah.
game. Bopped. Like, I was like, oof. Will he get stronger? Like, I was like, could he get stronger? Could he get in the gym? Could he eat more food? Like, I don't know. Like, it just seemed very light, like a feather. But if that's who Arteta wants, then he may get that person. Who knows? But for 60 million, 50 million, anything like that, I say it's a big fat no for me. And yeah, you guys let us know what you guys think about Odegaard. It's so funny how we've cooled on him like so much as a fan base. I wonder if he feels it too. Like, we were like, come on, 010, 010, you're gonna get the number 10 jersey. And now he's probably not getting any messages. He's probably checking his phone like, dang, they don't even care about me anymore. I mean, we are
he feels used. Yeah, we are fickle, and he probably feels a little bit used. But that's what happens, isn't it? You don't see a player for a while, then all the Buendia talk starts coming. Norwich get promoted. You see all the videos on Twitter of him scoring goals. You go, oh, look, he looks really, really good. Da, da, da. And then suddenly, you've got your eyes on a new toy. Either or, I think there'll be good signings. But obviously, we just have to be careful. We don't know how big our pot is, so 50 million feels like it's going to be a substantial amount of the pot. And I hope that doesn't mean if we go out and get someone like Odegaard, it's then going to be free transfers here and there, because we need to improve the squad a lot more.
We got.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we're going to get 200 million. No, guys, we're not. Sorry. Oh, sidebar. Did you see the news that Ancelotti is being considered for the Real Madrid job?
Yeah, I did. Listen, I'm not just saying this. I don't see what the fuss is about with Ancelotti. I just don't get it. I feel like he's obviously yeah, I feel like he obviously has got. I know. I think what the fuss is about in terms of his record is unbelievable, but in recent times, I don't know. I just think he's went to Everton and he's just done an average job. I mean, in fairness, his best players haven't been available, and he's kind of shown that when you don't have your players available, there's only so much you can do with a certain group of players. And Everton have, a pretty much a limited squad when you take out Rodriguez and Allen and Calvert-Lewin. There's not a plethora of options there. But I don't know. I just don't see what the fuss is. Maybe I'm just judging him on his tired look and the fact, he looks like time's up, but I just don't see what the fuss is. I feel like footballers just respond better to younger managers nowadays and managers with a bit more charisma, but I might be wrong. No disrespect to Ancelotti. I'm obviously a legend of the game, achieved wonderful things, but I don't know how he keeps getting these massive jobs or gets linked to these massive jobs. But
Don Carlos showing up to your doorstep. You're talking smack about him.
No, I'm not. I respect him. I'm just saying, I just don't get it anymore. Getting in old managers, I just don't understand it. I think the game's evolved quite a lot. But anyway, what do I know?
Can I just say that Everton's season has been so false? Like, the narrative around them is so wrong. They acted like, first of all, at a certain point in the beginning of the season, they were saying that they would make top 4. And I was like, not quite sure about that. We need to let the season kind of unfold. And as it unfolded, they became Everton of old. Like, they finished in the exact same position that they finished in last season, mid-table, 10th place, outside of Europe, with 4-5 new signings. People act like they didn't buy anybody. They bought Decore, James Rodriguez, Alon, Ben Godfrey, and then they got the guy from Bournemouth, whatever his name, Josh King. They brought him in as well. So I know that probably they'll say they had injuries to their players. So did we. And we got no grace for Thomas Partey being absent for like half of the season. So I think it's just so interesting that the narrative was so different around them when you could probably say that that was a flop of a season. And it wasn't because he didn't get players. It was he just had no impact on them whatsoever, in my opinion. So I'm probably just talking smack now, but at the same time, it's just like
Nah, listen,
everything
I feel like he's got a very uninspiring demeanor. You know, I think some people talk and they lift you with their energy, and some people talk and they lift you with their words and experience, or because you know it comes from a place of success. Like you're like, oh yeah, yes. And I think Everton's the right club for him in terms of they'll have a squad that will perhaps buy into that. But I feel like a lot of younger players that won't necessarily motivate them, and they'll be more motivated by a younger manager, someone with more, I don't know, with fresher ideas. But I might totally be wrong. But yeah, I just don't get it with Ancelotti. I just don't get it. But that's just me.
I love it. Good question from Yo-Yo, and it's a question not about Arteta at all. So
Send me your PayPal.
Yo-Yo asked, would you swap Aubameyang to bring in Odegaard? He's always wanted to go to Real Madrid to finish out his career. Is he going to sit on the bench behind Benzema?
Would I swap about? Yeah. I don't know. Would I? That's a good question. So I assume are we talking straight swap? I don't know. I've got no idea. I'm gonna say no out of loyalty to Aubameyang. What would you
Reasoning?
say? Oh, no reasoning, just loyalty.
Just loyalty.
Just loyalty, just
Hashtag
blind
loyalty. I love that. Oh my gosh. I think
because the thing is, you don't know what you're getting either way, do you? Like with Odegaard, you know there's a good player there, but you haven't seen it enough. And then with Aubameyang, you know there's a world-class goal scorer there, but he's had an off season. So it's like, I don't know. It's a very good question. That's a really, really hard one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't swap Granit Xhaka for Odegaard. There you go. That's what I can say. Just to lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think I would swap Aubameyang for Odegaard just for the simple fact that I don't know. I'm just looking at it like Odegaard has not impressed me on his loan as much as I thought he would. I think if you had asked me that without seeing Odegaard and looking at compilations, I'd be like, yes. But now that I've seen him play for us in the Arsenal and in the cold in London and getting bopped by different people.
But then there was the West Ham game. West Ham away, he was class in that second 45 minutes. Spurs at home, he was class. So there were some games when Odegaard turned it on, I thought. He really galvanised us in that second half against West Ham. And against Spurs, he really, that midfield trio of Odegaard, Granit Xhaka, obviously, and Thomas Partey really dominated Spurs' midfield. So, yeah, I know what you're saying. We didn't see it consistently enough. Is Odegaard a luxury player? He's not, but it feels like that sometimes, doesn't it? There are elements of Mesut Ozil in him.
In certain situations when we have possession of the ball, when we're playing in a different way or we're being pinned back, that doesn't happen very often. He goes missing. And so he gives me Ozil vibes 110%, like obviously a harder working one. But he's not like Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe, who feel like more foundational players. He feels a little bit more like a cherry on the top type of player. So I think, yeah. And I also think that Aubameyang will come back on form next season. I think this was a blip. I'm hoping it's a blip. We spent the money. He has to come back. So would I rather have Aubameyang's 20-something goals, or would I want to have Odegaard cutting in on his left, 1 or 2 assists? I'd rather have Aubameyang's goals, to be honest. So that's just me. Well, this also reminds me of like a conversation that I was having about the price of leadership, like Granit Xhaka going to Roma for like 17 million. And everybody's like, well, he's the captain of Switzerland and he's such a leader and he has experience. What is the price of leadership and experience? Like if Real Madrid said that you need to pay 5 million extra for Odegaard because he's the captain of Norway, wouldn't you look at them like they had 5 heads?
Yeah, I think it depends.
That's a bad example for you. Maybe I need to give you a different
Yeah,
example. Like he's worth so much more than.
you've cut me a little bit raw there. I think it depends. I think we've seen with Aubameyang that captains are selected for different reasons. Sometimes it's because of your ability. So at Arsenal, he was captain essentially because he was our best player. He's captain of his country because they're a really small nation, and he is the idol. And probably similar for Norway. I know they've got Haaland, but Odegaard's been playing for them for a little bit longer, and he's probably one of their biggest names, not the biggest name, one of their biggest names. With Granit Xhaka, I think it's a little bit different. He's obviously a leader. I think we've all seen that he's a natural-born leader, which is why he's captain of his country, and which is why he was captain of Arsenal, voted by his fellow colleagues. But yeah, you're right. I think it adds a little bit to the price. But if we're talking about Granit Xhaka, I think that 17 million price is a little bit cheap, but I think it's probably a gentleman's agreement between us, or between Arsenal and Granit Xhaka. Arteta's probably said, if you stay, help us get through this pandemic and whatnot, then I'll make sure that we don't price you out of a move and you get your move. And Roma probably know that, which is why they can negotiate that deal at a pretty decent price. But hopefully it all gets cancelled and we have many more years of Granit Xhaka, because I'm not ready to say goodbye yet.
You still have your pillowcase? Is it still there?
Still, I'm holding it back. I need to quickly say something. Actually, it feels like people will have a go at you for liking a player or for praising a player. It feels like there's so much talk about why are Arsenal fans upset at Granit Xhaka leaving. Arsenal, we're allowed to like players as much as people are allowed to dislike players. But I'd prefer for us to all see the positives in as many players as we can. So I feel like it's a little bit harsh to criticise some Arsenal fans for being slightly disheartened by the potential sale of Granit Xhaka at what feels like a bit of a cheap price. There's nothing wrong with rating a footballer. There's nothing wrong with liking someone. Just because he told us to fuck off, it doesn't matter to me. So I feel like if you are sad that he's going, then you can be, slightly upset that he's going. And if you think he's a good player, that's totally okay. There's many fans have soft spots for certain players, and my soft spot happens to be for Granit Xhaka. So yeah, I mean, hopefully he stays. Like I say, I think he will stay. To be honest with you, I think he will stay.
You have a question from Yo-Yo. What is Harry's opinions on Xhaka's kind words for Mourinho? I know
this is when the genders and narratives start to confuse, aren't they? Because I hate Mourinho and I've always criticised him, but then I'm like, well, Mourinho's obviously a good manager, so that's why he's signing Granit Xhaka, and all of the story. It's like, oh, which side am I going to take on? No, listen, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. It does feel a little bit weird, but they're obviously a fan, or Mourinho's obviously a fan of Granit Xhaka. I think most managers are probably fans of players like Granit Xhaka. I'm sure Tuchel really rates Jorginho. There's players that kind of divide opinions of fans, but managers, seem to appreciate them a little bit more. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with Granit Xhaka.
I just think Granit's going to go over there and be his Højbjerg. That's what I think. I think he likes a player that follows directions, can lead, does what he's told, and is kind of very consistent. And I think he's going to go over there and do exactly that. So that was super sidebar, but yeah.
Sorry.
Just wanted to talk about that for a second. No, I love it. So you guys, the question of the night, of the evening. So at the end of these shows, we'll always have a random question that's a little bit fun and lighthearted in a way. Well, maybe it's not that fun, because if you love these players, maybe you'll be a little upset. But it's time for you guys to get in the chat box and let us know how you feel, because we're going to have a little conversation about injuries. I think it was the Ars Review put out a really interesting question the other day about if you had the opportunity to give one past Arsenal player, just one, an injury-free career, who would you choose? And I did a poll and Santi Cazorla won. But I think there's some other names out there that people have forgotten about. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But Harry, who would you want to give an injury-free career to? And please don't say Hector Bellerin.
It's a tough one. I mean, the two that stick out are obviously Jack Wilshere. I love Jack Wilshere. I thought he was brilliant. injuries have clearly, killed his career, even more so than someone like Santi. Santi still went on to finish his career pretty strongly, had a good few seasons at Villarreal, and is still doing bits in Qatar, I think it is. Obviously, Abu Dhabi is one, more so for profile as well, because he had that Vieira type style. I think we saw so many good games from him that you just wanted to see more. Liverpool away, Abu Dhabi was class that game. But I'm probably going to say Cazorla, just because before he got that injury for us, I think we started that season really, really well. I think it was 2016, 2017. He formed a really good partnership. I believe it was with Coquelin. Was playing like some of his best football. And I think he done his Achilles maybe in the Champions League night. And then ever since then, we never got to see him again. But just for pure ability, he was class and obviously always played with a smile on his face. He's probably one of my top 5 favorite Arsenal players to watch, because I just thought he was like an absolute magician. What he could do with both feet. I remember being at Reading away when he scored a hat trick. And I think he was playing number 10 before Ozil arrived, or was more like a left-sided number 8. But yeah, I'm going to say Santi Cazorla just because he was absolutely class and a player that I don't think we'll ever see again in terms of, a two-footed 5'5" central midfielder. Jack Wilshere was class, but you see a lot of Jack Wilshere's like these little engines. Obviously a wonderful footballer as well, but Cazorla was just a little bit more unique in my opinion. So yeah, I'll go with Santi.
I think this is the one that slipped my mind. And then after my friend Jason had kind of brought this name up, I was like, yeah, actually, I think it's this guy. It's Eduardo for me.
Oh, yeah.
It has to be, because we would have won the league if he had not broke his leg. I think so. Because I think that's one of the seasons that got away. We had 2 of them, but I think that's the one that you could just see we were running away with the league. And then when he broke his leg, that was it. Lambs, I see your super chat up there. It's probably something. Oh, okay. What are you about to say, Lambs? Lambs has been on fire since she's got on Twitter. You guys, if you don't follow Lambs, you should. It's at Lambs Reacts on Twitter. She's hilarious, but don't let that pretty face fool you. It's a vicious one as well. But yeah, I think it's Eduardo. I think it is, because from an impact standpoint, it's probably Eduardo. Santi as well, because we lost a lot and we've never been able to really replace him. Those 2. And I was really, really surprised that Ramsey was in the mud. Ramsey was in the mud. A lot of people didn't choose him. Hold on really quick. Lambs Reacts says, hey, Jess. Hey, Harry. Hey, Lambs. And I already said hey, but hey, girl.
I think Thomas Rosicky is one as well, right? He had so many injuries. We felt like we hardly ever... We saw so much of him, but it also felt like we didn't see enough of him. He was a great player on his day as well, a game changer. Not many of those midfielders exist anymore as well. Someone who can play left midfield, right midfield, number 10. So Rosicky was another one. Yeah, but like you mentioned, Ramsey as well. Yeah, I feel like Ramsey still divides opinions of certain fans. I don't think he maybe has as much love from certain Arsenal fans as we think. But yeah, he was one. But he came back from his injury, right? I know he had lots of niggles after that, but he seemed to recover and have some brilliant seasons after that as well.
Why do you think Ramsey divides opinions so much? Because if you ask my mom, how does she feel about Ramsey? She couldn't stand him. Sorry, Mom, put you on blast, but you don't like Ramsey. I don't really like him either. To be not like him. That's not the right word. The right word is I didn't rate him the way other people were like. When people say that he's a legend, I'm like, you guys, no, he's not. But why do you think he divides opinion so much? I mean, he has some iconic goals,
I mean, probably the same reason why Granit Xhaka divides opinion. Some people that don't appreciate greatness. But in the same respect, though, I actually am one of those fans that's probably sit on more towards your mum's side. I had a weird thing with Aaron Ramsey. I felt like for the amount of runs he made into the box, for the kind of system he'd have to play, he didn't score enough goals consistently. And then I also saw quite a few immature elements to his game. There was sometimes too many flicks or too many over creative passes when it could have just been a lot simpler. But I actually enjoyed him most in an Arsenal shirt, which is crazy. Obviously, that season where he scored loads of goals, but towards the back end of Emery's career, when he played in the pivot, I really saw a maturity to Ramsey's game, and that's when I thought, oh, that's exactly it now. Just be like a bounce board in the middle of the pitch and get the ball and move it, and then make late runs. But it hasn't really happened for him at Juve, and I think that's probably a sign of the kind of player he is. Not a luxury player, but someone that if he doesn't score a goal, is he contributing enough? I'm not sure he is, but you can't take away from the moments he provided us. He essentially won us our first trophy in 9-10 years. So from that perspective, he's a legend for winning us those games. But I know what you're saying. I think the legend title is a little bit too strong for him.
Yeah, more like cult hero or something like that.
Would you take him back? Yeah, would you take him back on loan?
Absolutely not.
No,
no, I wouldn't, because he's also, he's a medical bed. Like he's in the ambulance. Like he's always injured, and so that, plus the fact that I just think that time has passed. No, I wouldn't. It sounds good, but also I feel like, and I know I've just like went fuzzy, I don't know why, but I think at the time when he wanted the contract, I just think that was a really unfortunate situation, because when you have somebody like Ozil on such high money, other players that feel like they're contributing the same will want that, because they know who has the money, they know who has the biggest contract. And I just think that it's unfortunate, because at that time it was just him and Ozil really holding the team together, maybe Alexis as well. And then he was gone, because they couldn't find some sort of agreement. I don't hate him or begrudge him because he asked for it. I just wish that we could have figured out something, because letting him go for free and then seeing how the team, our attack and everything really just kind of fell apart when he left. It really was like Ramsey left, and then it was just like, wow. So I wish that we had figured out something, but that being said, to me, it's like the time is really past for that. But I know there's a lot of people that would take him back.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes there's certain times you need those players to come back. I think of when Henry came back and he kind of rejuvenated the spirit a little bit, helped us finish the season fairly strongly. I feel like if we were really, really, I know we have been struggling, but Ramsey you'd sign him for that reason, just to lift the spirits, to try to get the fans back on your side and score some goals. But yeah, for the money it's going to cost as well, it doesn't really seem like a sensible thing. And in fairness to someone like Joe Willock, he'll probably give you that as well. You want legs, you want, a goal scorer in the box. Someone like Joe Willock could potentially, replicate those Aaron Ramsey numbers.
What about Diaby? Diaby was somebody that Arsene rated so highly. He loved him, Somebody had said that Arsene thought that he was more talented than Vieira, and that's pretty high praise. He just was so brittle, and like the way it unraveled, and the mental health issues that kind of came from, being so injury prone, was so sad. But the guy was silk. The guy was silk. He was actually playing. He was so, so good. I mean, in those days, like, how did you feel about Diaby? Did you rate him highly?
I remember when I think he first came on in maybe like a Champions League game, and he would just get the ball and just shoot. I remember him just shooting loads. I was thinking, God, this geezer really wants to score. And then I was at I think it was maybe like a Carling Cup game. It was because I went to university in Sunderland, so I was at that game. It was Sunderland away, and I was there when he broke his ankle. And obviously, yeah, he just never came back. We saw glimpses of it, and like I mentioned, Anfield away, where he totally dominated that midfield. But yeah, it just shows you, like, sometimes when you get those massive injuries, it's just, so hard to recover, and everyone's different. And like you said about his mental health, that obviously took a toll on him. Did he go to West Brom, or am I imagining things? Did West Brom sign Diaby but he never played? I'm sure they did, or have I gone mental?
Guys, let us know in the chat box if you know if Diaby went to West Brom. Oh, yep, there. No, wait. You guys, let us know. I'm looking.
What? I'm sure someone took a gamble on him. I'm sure they did. I might be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Tony Pulis. But anyway, yeah. I mean, listen, on his day, yeah, Glides did this thing where almost a little bit like Alexander Haleb, when he would dribble with the ball in tight spaces, kind of just manipulate it really, really quickly. Long strides, a good shot on him. I mean, yeah, he could have been a really, 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 really good player. And it's sad that similar to like Jack Wilshere, we'll just never know how good he could have been. And that's really, really sad when you think about it for any footballer to have their career taken away from them because of injuries or because of a stupid challenge. Yeah, super, super sad. So unfortunately, we'll never know.
Yeah, Diaby was offered something by West Brom, and I don't think he went. It's saying here
Oh,
West Brom
okay.
confirmed Abu Diaby offered contract, but I'm not sure if he ever really went or ever really like dressed or anything like that. But yeah, the guy was really, really good, and it just never really came to fruition because of his injuries. Honorable mention goes to Jack Wilshere. Obviously, you guys know I love him. Um, Maybe he was like better in my mind than what he actually was, but for me, he was like the best player. I
Oh
hyped
no,
him
he was
so,
class. He
so
was
much.
class.
I
When
hyped it so much.
when Emery decided not to to extend his contract, or when Jack Wilshere announced that his contract he wasn't staying at Arsenal, I was like, no, I was gutted because I thought, oh, he could definitely come back and get his fitness back and play. But we saw towards the end of his last season under Wenger, he really struggled to impact games and yeah, he was on the pitch, but he wasn't the same. And sadly, as we've seen since he's went to West Ham and now Bournemouth, it's the same story. So I hope he just finds a league where he can go and play, whether that's the MLS, whether that's further, whether that's Qatar, wherever it is. Just go out there and enjoy your football and try to play in maybe a less demanding league, a less physical league, if that's even a thing, and just try to enjoy the last few years of your career. I'm not sure how old he is. 29, 30?
30.
It must be. Is he? Is he 30?
I think he's 30, yeah.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
know.
that's sad. That's really sad. It's really.
When I look at him too, like I still see the little Jack. Like I still see the same person. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, like this was probably a couple months ago. I looked at a Jack Wilshere compilation, it just randomly popped up on my phone, and I had like a literal tear. Like a literal tear.
Oh,
Like I felt away, like, and I never feel away. Like the guy was so good. Yes, their performance against the best Barcelona team. I was that person. I love that guy. I love that guy. And I
yeah.
love to see that he still cares about Arsenal. He still talks about Arsenal now.
I think there's an England game where he scores two really similar goals. I think Adam Lallana sets them up, and they're both outside the box with his left foot. And during that spell, like, he was class for England, and I was absolutely loving it. It's so good to see a player that you love also perform for the country, because then the whole world gets to enjoy that goal. Sorry, or the whole country gets to enjoy that Jack Wilshere goal. So yeah, special player. Hopefully, he's still got a few years and can manage to find some fitness again.
100%. So yeah, you guys, we kind of went through it. We said Rosicky, everybody. What about Vermaelen? Was he injured a lot? Wasn't he injured a lot?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, but I
But he
mean,
wasn't like,
yeah, it's one of
yeah.
those ones. Van Persie was one as well. I know we got some great seasons,
Oh
of
yeah.
him towards the end, but he had, he was it always felt like he was injured, especially during those early years. So he's someone that maybe could have hit those a lot quicker if he didn't manage to get a lot of injuries. And listen, I know we joked about Hector Bellerin, but look, prior to that, he was doing really, really well for us and was a fast and good attacking right back, and one injury has kind of really, really knocked him sideways. So yeah, some players make it look really easy when they come back from these injuries. I remember Perez doing his ACL right on the byline. I think it was against Newcastle at Highbury, and he came back and scored some amazing goals. So some players just are fortunate enough to recover, and others it takes a lot longer. They never get that consistency back. They never find that form back, and that must be so sad for them. That must just be like devastating to know that something out of your control takes away your career or takes away your love. Like, I can't imagine how that feels.
Bellerin is actually he's a good shout, just because if you go back and look at old videos of Bellerin, he was rapid. Absolutely rapid. So
I thought someone was going to leave a voice message on that thing and it was going to play out loud there.
oh my goodness, one day. I mean, but finally, okay, you guys are. One day we're gonna have to play a game. Like, how many times does the phone ring? It's so annoying. But Hector Bellerin is a good shout, just because before his injury, he was really, really fast, beyond fast, one of the fastest players I've ever seen. So He's a good shout. Yep, it was Guendouzi calling back. He still didn't like what I had to say about him. Actually, it might have been Carlo Ancelotti letting you
Oh
guys,
yeah.
calling you. But one there today, you guys. Let me know if you guys like this type of show. I just randomly kind of thought of it. It's probably not like super original, but I was thinking like something a little bit less serious, and just we go through the headlines of the day and then do a fun question at the end. So let me know if you guys enjoyed it. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Follow Harry at It's DJ Harry on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at It's Jesinho. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. UK, we'll have another show. I don't know what it's going to be about. I'll let you guys know later. And yeah, so yeah, you guys, if you guys haven't noticed, I fly by the seat of my pants. I literally wake up in the morning, check Twitter, see what you guys are talking about, and then I make a show on that. So that's my formula. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.